Welcome to this week's Rick Answers His Email. I was off yesterday for Father's Day, didn't have time to do the questions, but we're back at it tonight. First up is a question from Carl, who wonders how I do these particular videos, and I use a software called Camtasia, which does indeed record the video as well as the screen cam. And here is TechSmith's website, techsmith.com. They also have a free product called Jing. If you want to just get started recording screencasts, it doesn't do the picture-in-picture like the Camtasia and doesn't have the editing features that Camtasia has, but it's a great way to get started. Up next is Kenneth, who has a strange problem that has occurred that when he tries to open his control panel, he's getting this particular error. I'm assuming that everything probably worked good up to a point. In your case, since I don't have a lot of other information, I would use System Restore and restore your computer back to a date when your computer was working fine. Dave writes, do I have a physical address that he could come to in Grand Junction? I do not. Everything I do is on site. Thomas has a question about add-ons, extensions, and plugins, and he wants me to explain the difference. And really there's no difference between those three terms, Thomas. They all are additions to software that can enhance or add a feature to whatever software you're using. Software doesn't always use common terminology, so some software may call it an add-on, another piece of software may call it an extension or a plug-in. Plug-in might be the most different between the other two, and a plug-in is oftentimes referring to a audio or a video plug-in to be able to listen to or watch a video on the internet. For example, on my videos at helpmerick.com, you have to have the Flash software or Flash plug-in for your browser in order to watch the videos. How do I get the yellow circle? That is a feature of Camtasia, the program I talked about at the beginning of the video. Stephen writes from Austin and found some interesting errors on my website since I've switched to WordPress. What I'm going to have to do, Stephen, is send this off to my web guru. I myself am not a web guru. I have actually somebody that's helping me with customization of the theme and things like that, and I have no idea what that means. Hopefully the site was still functional for you. Walt has a good question about what is tinyurl.com and how does it work and is it safe? I've got all the answers for you at my website at helpmerick.com in a tip that is titled Prevent Dead Email Links, Save Time, and Use URL Shorthand, and it's all about how to use tinyurl. Tinyurl was one of the first address shortening services, and it takes a long address and shortens it into a nice tight address that you can easily email so it doesn't get broke up via email. It's used all the time these days on services like Twitter. A devious person could easily create a tinyurl from a potentially harmful website and then send it to you as a tinyurl, so just always make sure you know who's sending it, and then yes, they are safe beyond that. Steve is asking a question about changing passwords, and he's wondering, should he come up with one good complex password for all accounts or continue using different ones for every account? Definitely use different email addresses for every account. Now you can modify one if you want and add some capitals or put in a dash or leave out a particular character out of a password, but it's best to actually put different passwords for every account, particularly financial accounts. Wendell writes with a question about how to add a particular email. He would like to add a particular address to his email. Not enough information, Wendell. I need a lot more information to figure out what you're trying to do. I don't know if you're trying to block an address. I don't know if you're trying to retrieve a second address in your Outlook Express. I need more information. Shelley, I don't think you installed AVG correctly because it looks like you're using Windows Vista, and AVG should not have any problem running with Windows Defender. I do it every day with my computers, and people's computers that I install AVG on have no problem either. You need to uninstall AVG and then reinstall it because you cannot run the AVG without the Resident Shield. That is the protection, and it should not bother your Windows Defender. Next up is Rogine, I guess it is. Well, you know, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I'm not an AOL fan. If you have a high-speed internet connection, my personal preference is to delete all AOL software and instead access your AOL account by just going directly through a browser like Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox. You can uninstall and reinstall the AOL software to see if that works, but from this far away I cannot tell you whether it's the computer or the AOL that is the problem, but you know me, I'm going to err towards AOL. JT, unfortunately, you're asking the wrong guy when it comes to video editing, and I wouldn't have a clue on where to tell you to go or how to start. I would, since you're using the ULead Video Studios, go to the ULead website, ulead.com, and they do have some support forums that you can search for answers and ask for answers at their website. And you're going to talk to people that are video centric and understand what you're trying to do, and more than likely can help you figure out how to do it. And lastly is Jean from Pennsylvania, who's asking how to change the spell checker from French back to English. If you just search my website at helpmerick.com for the word French, you're going to find the steps on exactly how to do that. Thanks again for writing, everyone. We'll talk to you again next week.